I know something that most people don't know. I know that you didn't start here. Even though you live in Pittsford now, got a whole roundabout, cars in the driveway, dogs that you love, amazing children, grandchildren. I know you didn't start here. This wasn't always your view. You didn't always have land, hot tubs, wraparound decks. You couldn't always afford to. In this place, it's probably getting carried in here. Right, this. This is 500 South Avenue, also known as Southview Towers. Let's go see where I came home from the hospital. Remember this place? I surely don't. But look how far you've come. 2. Should have listened to God and just had 2 of us. 266 Arborwood Lane. I'm sure you remember this place. I remember this. This was our first townhouse. I think I was our only townhouse. Tricia was born while we were living here. I remember Brooke and Bridget would come over all the time. They lived right around the corner in the same apartment complex. I think I remember a birthday party here, some steps, come in, go up the steps a little bit. I don't have a ton of memories. We didn't have Facebook and Instagram back then, but look how far you've come. All the hard work. And then so when I went to these old neighborhoods, all I could do was be grateful. Because, wow, I know plenty of people are born in and grow up in the same house. And I just kept thinking, what if you were content to raise your family in these houses or in these neighborhoods? Like, what if that had been okay with you? What if you didn't endure all the hardship that you did? You didn't push the stroller in the snow and work at these hotels and pick up after completely inconsiderate and disgusting people and work for tips, not knowing what you were going to eat, not having the proper clothes for yourself. What if it was enough to just be a mother and you stopped trying to achieve things and didn't press through and try to figure out a way to not only be able to provide for your family, but to be able to be home when your children got home from school? What if you weren't the type of parent that went to school and talked to the teachers and hands-on and helped us with homework, and when you didn't know the answer, you got somebody on the phone, or a TV show used to come on, the homework hotline, you'd have us call in and work the problems out that way? What if you weren't that type of mom? What kind of person would I be today? What if you allow life and life circumstances to get the best of you? I went through these neighborhoods, and it's crazy. As an adult, I'm able to see them for what they really are. But as a child, I didn't see it. I didn't see what I'm able to see now. What you were able to see every single day that you brought your children home and made us feel like we lived in the best and the greatest, and made us feel protected and safe. In this neighborhood, there were definitely gunshots, bullets flying, and at one point I go over and you can see the ADT sign, and the irony is that's the same people that were securing it when those our next door neighbors in that brown house broke in, not only stole all of our stuff, my flute and everything else, they also stole the alarm system. But what if that had been enough for you? What if that was okay? Like that was just what you felt you deserved, that your children deserved? What if you were one of the many parents that just allowed us to be our circumstance? I just want you to know that I appreciate all of the impossible decisions that you made over the years. How you made this place feel like a castle, and that driveway over there felt like our training ground. That's where I learned how to ride my bike, and I remember taking the training wheels off over there and being so excited that I was able to ride. I didn't know all this stuff was around us. That house over right to that yellow house, not that one right here, this one, a drug house. I didn't even know what that meant. We lived directly across the street from people that were selling or using drugs, and back then, of course, that was the heavy stuff. But that backyard back there, man, hide and go seek, horseshoes, barbecue, and somehow you made the best out of the worst circumstances. We never knew all that it took for you to do that. I had no idea. I just remember being out here trying to mow the lawn with Dad and being too skinny and unable to push it. I didn't even know we had chimneys because I'm pretty sure there were any fireplaces in there. We had Taboo and Nintendo and air hockey. But do you see this neighborhood? We didn't go to these schools in this neighborhood, and man, I'm so glad. Couldn't even imagine having to walk to school under these conditions. You made the impossible decision for me. You drove me to school every single day. 630 Clay Avenue. I remember the day we moved into this house. Back in that big old U-Haul truck up onto the lawn. Well, one of the adults did. I was definitely not old enough to drive. And how excited we were. I mean, we had just come through terrible loss not too long before that Auntie Jackie had passed, and Grandma Ruff wasn't doing well, and there's a lot of moving pieces that were going on that as a child, of course, you don't really have a huge understanding of or an appreciation for. But now looking back on it, I'm able to see it a lot different and realize that purchasing a house under the circumstances that you and Dad were able to was no small feat. And we felt like we had moved into a castle that's so big it took up all of our backyard that we had just lost from the last place. But we're so happy to be in a nice new neighborhood with children that we were going to be able to play with. We were away from the hood and all the hood shenanigans. By this point, I was a little older, so I had a little better understanding of things that were going on. And this is where you really came into your own as far as Miss Cece's daycare and being able to really help provide for your family, and oftentimes providing for your family. And I mean, we didn't really go without to Disney. I mean, all of our cousins wanted to live with us. I never understood that. But, I mean, you had so much love, and so much love that we had to share this house with ungrateful people and their ungrateful parents. But I just want you to know that your children appreciate all the sacrifices that you've made over the years for not just us, but for people that definitely don't deserve you. And I don't feel bad for saying that. I never have. Jonah is the exception to that rule. He definitely deserves all the love that you give to him. He definitely does. But this house is so full of memories. That's probably why we still have it. I couldn't imagine not being able to walk through those doors and joke about all the crazy stuff that happened here. Trisha passing out by the back door. Quentin's tie-dye jeans. The bat on the porch. The Noriega CD that you and Dad found in my book bag. Karen shenanigans. We have so many memories of this house. It's crazy. That brings us back to where we started. But just wanted you to know, as your oldest child, the person that's been struggling the most with you, struggling the longest, other than Dad, because I see you, and I've seen all, not all of course, because you hid a lot of it from us, but I saw a lot of the struggle that it took for you to get to where you're at. I just want you to know it's not in vain, and that there's not really anything that I could have purchased that would really let you know how much I appreciate all that you've done for your children over the years. I know that you say that I taught you how to be a mom, you know, by the trial and error. I missed my trip to DC and all that, but a lot of it just created a little bit more tenacity in me. It's probably why I travel as much as I do now. And I know sometimes it comes across like I don't like you or something. I don't really know what it comes across as, but I love you more than anything, because look how far you've come. A lot of people don't leap through the levels socially, financially, in the short period of time that you've been able to. I came home from the hospital in a high rise. Your grandchildren come home from the hospital to Pittsburgh. That's huge. Your last son didn't have to catch the RTS bus to go to school because of urban suburban. He lives in the district that he goes to school. He lives in the #1 district in all of upstate New York. It's no small feat. Not only are you a mother, you're an amazing grandmother. Your grandchildren adore you. You spoil your godchildren. You have accolades for days. And these weren't acquired overnight. These were acquired while you were raising your 7, 8 children and all the other people that don't deserve to be mentioned in this conversation. And you were a sister, wife, a friend, a counselor. I don't take any of that for granted. I mean, I recognize it every single day, but I know that no one taught you this. I mean, no one sat down and said, this is what it is to be a mother. Like, you had to show up every single day in spite of what was going on or what you did have or didn't have, the lacking resources. You didn't always have the money that you have now. You didn't have a car. You had to get on the RTS bus to go to work, to take me to daycare. You had to push a stroller in the snow in Rochester. Now you got 2-car garage. You have 3 because you got another one at the other house. You have 2 houses. 2 big houses. You have a business. You have 8 children. All pretty much standing on their own 2 feet. I own a couple companies. I'm doing pretty okay for myself these days. You have 5 grandchildren who are healthy and amazing, love and adore you. So, to end this with my version of a proverb, that eventually your children grow up and they call you blessed. And it's not because of this house that's sitting here. This house is really just a representation of all the hard work that you continue to do. Because this is not, when I make the next Mother's Day video, your house will be bigger than this. And there'll be more children running around in there. By then I'll be ready to add to the bunch of grandchildren. So happy Mother's Day to that, because you truly make me want to be a mother.